Hey, everybody, it's another day. That means it's time for the Two Big Guys in Grover podcast. New week here in, we have Duck Pond Front Property here in Tracy, Missouri.
Forever geese.
There's literally a pond right outside these doors.
Yeah, we have the only pond in all of Tracy. We have the only waterfront property in all of Tracy.
Our deck.
Well, other than the car lot across the street when it floods.
That's true. That's true.
Right on the river.
It's on the river. We're in a flood plain.
We have the best deck. Fishing deck.
We have a pretty good deck.
Cigarette smoking deck.
Yep.
It happens a lot here.
We'll try to break in the
we
back
get a lot
door.
of we get a lot of people that decide to smoke over here all the time.
It's
better than standing out at the pumps. Like some people think we joke about this. We really are next to a convenience store.
Yeah.
And I've never understood this. People get out, they start their gas, and they light a cigarette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because gasoline's not flammable.
I don't understand.
There's this sign that literally says "shut off your car."
Yeah.
And if you think that, and that's what's weird is people will shut off their car and light a cigarette.
My
favorite is like in the summertime, you see them, they'll like wander from like bay to bay, and just because they're smoking.
So if you watch, they will walk from like where the posts are, where the gas, the pump. They'll walk over, look in the trash bin, walk over, kind of just kill time while I guess their car's filling up.
And their cigarettes burning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But in the wintertime, what I was going to say, in the summertime, they wander. In the wintertime, they get as close to the pump as they can. And you see them like...
The windbreak?
Yeah, it's a
The windbreak.
And they suck on But... rather than staying out there, you'll have the courteous ones that do walk up and walk away from the pump, and then they find themselves
in front of your door.
In our door or on our deck. And so it looks like Chris has been outside hacking and gagging on tobacco sticks for...
So really what we're doing here today on the podcast is kids don't smoke. That's our public service announcement.
PSA.
Yeah. Or don't be dumb enough to do it when you're around a gas pump.
Yeah. Growing up in Weston, tobacco was a part of our culture more than most people. Maybe not. I mean, about as equivalent. Actually, I guess it's being a cowboy and having Copenhagen Skull and Copenhagen and that around as kids.
The funny thing is, Copenhagen doesn't explode
so bad.
Yeah.
I do every day. Yeah, I've been clean now for about
5 years.
Holy cow! No, along that your sister and I'll be married 7, coming up in May. Still sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That I married your sister.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm almost 7 years no Copenhagen, and I want it today as bad as I wanted it on the day that I quit.
Yeah. One of my best comedic comeback lines was ever at his wedding.
Might have been.
Have you heard that?
It was a great.
Was this like Yo Mama?
No.
Cody was my best man at my wedding.
Yeah. And
wait a minute, Cody was the best.
Yeah. Well, the only other one was Matt West standing up there, and so I didn't have a lot of competition. No. But I got up there for my best man speech, and I said, "I've only ever been in 3 weddings in my life, and that was Becky's first, Scott's first, and this one." And it was true story that I'd been in those 3.
Everybody raise your cups as we celebrate.
I didn't have to because they were spilling laughing. So
it was
we got by with a good one that night. But
what a great day!
What does that have to do with?
And you gained an amazing brother-in-law.
Yeah,
that's what he said. He says that
tobacco-free one. A
he says
tobacco-free
that
one
constantly to me.
I'm
like the luckiest guy.
Because Grover is my brother-in-law. Yeah. Hey, we're just this is what people want to hear about Chris.
I know.
I'm sure they do.
The safety regulations of the gas pump.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I think it's interesting that people, for instance, it'd be the same person that has their kid strapped in the car seat, steps out and smokes next to the deal. I just don't understand it.
Still smelling it.
Yeah. So moving on. Sorry.
Over the weekend, it was a big weekend.
It was a good weekend.
There was a lot of things going on this weekend in Western sports. Let's start with the Velocity Tour event, Pendleton Whiskey Velocity Tour event in Bangor, Maine. It's the only 3-day event of the year, and Keith Hall from Georgia won the first round, but our buddy Stetson Lawrence took home the overall victory after being cut last week after Kansas City. found himself in kind of familiar territory than he was a year ago.
Right.
Wins an event. He will be back on tour, moves him all the way to number 36.
What's cool is he did what he needed to do. He did what it was supposed to happen for him to get back. We talked about it when we were in Kansas City, and at that point, he was it was inevitable, especially that first round. I think he was tired of talking about it, tired of being asked about it, and then just said, I'm going to go to Bangor, I'm going to win it, and I'll be back. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. After the first round?
I think also, though, I think he discounts the fact that he's been on tour for as long as he has. I don't think people realize Stetson Lawrence has been around a long time now. And for even himself, that he's been here. And so people be like, he may not have been 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the world, but he's been here now on tour 8 years, consistently on tour. And so he has a fan base. He has, the population out there. And then I don't think he sees that as much because you do get overshadowed by guys 1 through 10 as much as they change and everything. But for him, he's definitely made a living. Mm-hmm. But the only thing they talked about while he's in Kansas City was, hey, if you don't make the cut, you're going down.
Right. Yeah, it was all negative talk.
Yeah, that's my point. So it's hard to be positive about your week if you've got everybody saying, hey.
62nd, 63rd, somewhere around there.
Yeah, he was somewhere in there.
The only way he was going to avoid that was winning Kansas City.
And quite frankly, the Kansas City was such with the classic and everything going on, Bulls were.
It's a hard one to.
It's a hard one to get past if you're on the bubble. So,
well, speaking of classics, though, then we turned around and had another classic this week in Little Rock, and I was talking to somebody while I was there, and I said, "Man, what a season it's been on these guys so far." So, if you go back to LA was a major, which was a tournament style format where you got on multiple bulls. The next week was the Global Cup, or you went to a Velocity that was a classic.
Yeah.
Then you went to Kansas City, that was a classic. Then you went to Little Rock, which was a classic. And we had a 15-15 in KC. These guys are, they are riding. We're putting them through the grinder right now is what we're doing.
It's like the NFL.
Well, I was going to say, and I think people, then you discount the fact that you start your season in New York, and then you bounce to the other coasts, and then you bounce back, and then you're back out on the coast because you're in Chicago, and then you turn back and you're out on the coast again, and then all of a sudden you're, in Sacramento, LA, and
and the guys are tired right now.
The guys are tired.
And this was a week where we brought 40 guys were there the first night in St. Louis, or in Little Rock, 6 of them moved on Saturday and did not ride and went to the American for the first round of the American. Then, of course, the American wrapped up on Sunday afternoon. So we lost guys like JRV, Cole Melanson, Dalen Swearingen, Colbaba, Claudio Montagna Jr., and then Brennan Eldridge is sixth on that.
Yeah,
on that list.
Yeah, Brennan.
So it took away some guys on Sunday afternoon, and we're going to talk about taking care of opportunities. I don't feel like a lot of guys really took care of opportunities when Joao ends up being in the top 3 and not even there on Saturday. But the guy that did step up to play was Ramon de Lima. He won that event. That's his first event win of the year.
And looked good doing it. That reminded us of 2 years ago.
Yep.
When he was a contender.
Was it 4 years ago he came over? Has it been 4 years? 4 years ago at the finals? Because it went like didn't he and Kaiki come over at the same time? Maybe it's been 5 years now. I don't know how long he's been here.
I don't know. He split the Velocity title 1 year with Marsilio. Marsilio.
That was 5 years ago.
And then the year after that, he won the Iron Cowboy.
Yep.
Then last year was on the bubble, just barely made the finals, and then this year, was able to win Little Rock. Now he's number 8 in the world standings.
Didn't he win an event in the last 1 or 2 events last year to qualify for the finals?
Won a Velocity event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to make the finals.
But the year before was a top 5.
Year before, he was leading for a long time.
Yeah, he was number 1 in the world for a while.
Yeah.
So
good for him.
Anyway, good weekend for him.
Who won the bull event down there? Did you have that? I didn't even ask.
Ooh, I can find that. I did get an email from.
I just didn't know.
From the ABBI.
Because you got bulls that went 2 weekends in a row. and you start to see how much smoke they can handle?
Well, you had OK Brands that won the first two, and then Riding Solo won Kansas City, and Little Rock was won by Kitty Hawk from Bob and Jerry Adams and D&H Cattle. Crossover was second. Midnight Rock was third, and the bull Rump Thumper was fourth place. Riding Solo had a little bit of trouble. He still ended up ninth and 10th, but he flipped over in the buck and shoots, and then came right by our set there and ride past, and I believe went to the parking lot.
It doesn't surprise me.
But they brought him back in. They ran him back in. They ran him back in. They had to ride him anyway because he had to be scored. So
think about it, though, like we were talking about this earlier in your example of, he gets right outside the door and looks around and goes.
Yeah, if you've never been to Little Rock, Arkansas, the building is in North Little Rock, which is across the river bridge from the river market in Little Rock. And I don't know that it was this bull. I don't know that it was this bull that got out. I'm trying to think if it was or not. But either way, bull runs out the back alley out in the parking lot and pretty much looked right and looked left and went, yeah, I'm going back inside.
Oh, it's true.
And wheeled around and went back inside. So
they where you have to park there's a little gas station on the corner. You can park on the northeast side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 3 armed guards that watch your car because you're paying like $25. Like, they don't even care about selling gas.
Oh yeah, the last 2 years.
They sell the space up, like they fill up the whole deal.
But let me tell
you get out and there's 3 armed guards and it's like, wow, this is.
But let me tell you what, across the river, over in the river market, is beautiful. Some of the best. Little Rock has become one of my favorite places to eat food.
Really?
They have a big river market. It's all inside. And there's a place in there called Platinum Barbecue. I'm going to give a little shout out to these guys. Holy smokes. I mean, top 3 barbecue places I've ever ate in my entire life.
You only ate like 3.
Nail it. I'm from Kansas City. I eat barbecue all the time.
Yeah.
Here's my top 3 barbecue places of all
Okay,
time.
I was going to say, let's talk about this for a second. Yeah, let's do
Joe's
this.
Casey, Hard 8 Barbecue in Stephenville, and Platinum Barbecue in Little Rock, Arkansas. Those are my top 3.
Wow.
Boom.
Yeah. See, I don't want to take anything away from Joe's. Joe's has become,
standalone.
Yeah, Mike's did a fantastic job growing that brand, and then had to change the name, and it's a true test of what you're selling when you can go out and change your name. Not to get too far off on this, guys, but if you can go out and change your name on a product, when I mean change your name, like lose your identity, still put out the same product, and still have the lines there every day.
Somewhat. I mean, it went from Oklahoma Joe's to KC Joe's, right?
Joe's KC. Yeah, but I mean, if you look back like through the barbecue world, those people were like, everything said Oklahoma Joe's on it.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
They had to rename their barbecue sauces and everything. My point is, he put out a good enough product, and he still has the same people. So I'll go with your number 1.
Sounds like bull.
Don't know if it's my number 1, but I've ate a lot of barbecue.
Doesn't show.
Doesn't show.
Doesn't show at all.
I bet you have eaten a lot.
Barbecue doesn't normally show. It's probably more the ho-hos and Twinkies and the
afterwards.
Banana pudding and sweet tea and pork rinds, doing lots of driving, and everybody has their vices. So
that's it.
Yeah. Yours was Copenhagen. Yeah, we won't even talk about chocolate milk and whatever down there. So
nope.
I'm good.
All right.
So
Little Rock.
Speaking of doing good, Little Rock was a great event. Did guys? The big story of the week is who is going to step up. Jess Lockwood and Jose Vitorlimi are on the sidelines. It's week to week with Jose. Jess is out for 6 months. Joao Ricardo Vieta, even though he was not there on Saturday, has now moved within under 100 points of the world number 1. Dalen didn't have a good weekend. Pacheco looked okay. So we'll see how things are going to roll out. But a guy that's looking more than okay is Dakota Butter. He has ridden 50 bulls in a row. Maybe not that many, but he's 10 for 10.
Yeah.
10 for 10 in Canada.
And did you know Canada has a 5? See, we have a 15-15 bucking battle.
They have a 5 for 5.
5 for 5 bucking battle.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's weird to say. There's no roll. It doesn't roll off your tongue.
I think it's a good thing.
Is that because the
exchange ratio?
That's exactly what it is. It's like Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just different.
So on the exchange, there's only 5 for 5 up there, not 15 for 15.
But Dakota Butter dominating, and I know that winning that Canadian title is one of Dakota's big goals this year. He's number 19 in the world, but
so at some point we need to have the conversation about how those guys are staying in their countries and not coming down to the tour.
Because I thought they were required.
I
if
thought
you're
so
in the
too.
top 35, you're required, and if you didn't, then you were either fined, suspended, banned.
We'll have to find that out because I don't know. I mean,
I believe that rule's been changed a little bit because we watched that with Aaron Klyer last year.
Because he didn't want to come over.
He didn't want to come over. He wasn't comfortable coming over. When he came over the first time, it was for Cheyenne. He drafted legit, and then we all went, "Wow, you're not real comfortable." but
for good reason.
But I had the nerve to do that, and I'm poking fun at a little bit at Aaron. But we'll get to the bottom of that here in the next couple of weeks because you got to look at number 21 in the world's Lachlan Richardson,
who won an event in Australia this weekend,
right? And he's not here either. So.
So where's and I don't have. I can pull it up on my own
both
computer.
Both of those that were mainstays on the UTV.
Right.
I mean, those guys have been. It's not like Aaron. You can understand he's a young guy. Just he's and he'll say, "I just wasn't emotional. I was overwhelmed."
Yeah, these guys have already.
Well,
been
he had to work out. He had to work out some logistics too on his visa and things like they have to have a sports visa when they're over here like that. They can't just get a visa and come over here. Ask Grover about going north one time.
I heard he got put in the popo.
Yeah,
denied.
He did. He went to go work a Canadian event. He didn't make it.
I was proud when you told me he was banned from Canada. I was proud.
Well, I don't know if we would say banned. The last phone call I had said,
"You're not welcome."
No, the last phone call I said literally said this: "Is there a stamp on your passport that says denied?" I said no. He's like, "Come home back then." Okay.
I thought they did stamp it though.
No, there's not a denied stamp on my passport.
And they just sent you home that day.
They sent me home that day.
You said
no Timmy Hortons, no nothing.
Cheated you.
Said go home, clown. We don't want you here.
You can go to Michigan and Chicago and everywhere else and get Timmy Hortons, so you don't have to go to Canada for that.
It's better in Canada.
Was it
It's better in Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a 357 you were trying to take into Canada?
Yeah, exactly. It was a slingshot and a BB gun.
Okay, so what I was going to say is Brock Radford. That's what I was trying to get at. He's number 30th in the world, and he's hanging out up there too.
Yep. But right now is their hot time in Canada. So
Aaron Roy's 37th in the world.
He was higher.
But, I mean, he's up there. I mean, I saw him on the short round list or the 5 for 5 list.
Yeah. So we'll I'll try to get some clarification on that with the PBR Insider next week.
Yeah, because, I mean, like even Troy Wilkinson is 41st, and with all the exemptions and injuries, he would be in the 35.
Yep. A lot of changing going around this in the next couple weeks for sure. There was a little rodeo in a big hay barn in Arlington, Texas called the American.
Heard that.
There was some.
They made some hay down there.
I did not watch it. We watched a little bit on our phone on the way home from Little Rock yesterday, which was a 6-hour drive that took a long time to get home. So we watched a little bit of it on our phone, listened to a little bit of it on the radio. It was funny to read the comments of. They showed the rodeo on RFD and they showed the rodeo on the Cowboy Channel. And to say the least, people that were watching the Cowboy Channel and the 18 different little boxes on the screen were not happy. But RFD had a full screen deal. So I see what they were trying to do. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to give you every single look at it. And I applaud now Jeff Metters, the general manager of the Cowboy Channel, for that vision.
But I would say that, and maybe I'm wrong and I'll probably get backlash for this, but for those that watch other sports besides just rodeo, that view is the view that everybody sees.
Yeah, and
I mean, if you go look at UFC or you go look at NFL, I mean,
using the split.
They're using the split
quad
screens, and you're able to watch everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so for some fans, that's what they want.
Yeah,
some people just want one.
I get it, because if a lot of us use our phones now for a lot of our media viewing, right? I can be sitting in front of a 65-inch and I'm still on my phone. I pop it up.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that we have access with it there. On the phone, if you go split screen, if you're putting 2 little squares inside of that or 4 squares, you just can't watch it.
Yeah. I just think, I like I said, I applaud them for trying, and we are kind of a lot of times we have blinders on in Western sports as fans. There's what we want to see compared to maybe what the fan would want to see. Us that are involved in rodeo, we in bull riding, we go, okay, that's how I want to see it. And another fan from the outside coming in that maybe doesn't understand our sport at all, maybe needs to see it from some different angles. See it the way that they watch a football game or a basketball game or baseball or golf or however that is.
But I think
we have to start playing to those. We don't need to worry about us so much. We need to start playing to the rest of the world and get them to understand. We've been talking a lot about education in rodeo, that people don't understand rodeo. Well, then it's our job to teach them. So let's figure out a way to teach them.
Well, and you want to talk about 2 things there. We're constantly trying to gain new fans, new butts in the seats, to sell our product, to do all those things. And we've got to broaden our horizons as far as how we get it out there. We're good at getting it to ourselves, but we have to be able to get it to those that don't know about the sport.
Yep.
The second thing is on education. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the crew down there at the American this year. They brought in ambassadors, youth ambassadors, to talk about the sport for the last 10 days.
Yeah,
and I think that
right from our backyard here with the anniversary.
Yeah, that is huge for our sport. Mm-hmm. And to see them do that, those strides have to be taken. I've never seen that in any other Western sports event ever, where they brought kids in to help push the sport on the right platforms.
It's balancing that, because Scott, you're right, because from a coach's standpoint, I don't really care from the sideline view. I know that's what the audience usually sees and things like that. Coach's standpoint, I want to go end zone. I want to see every step of the lineman. I want to see linebackers break. I want to see their angles. That's because you're cutting and grading and coaching constant that. As an enjoyable, as the enjoyment factor from the audience, where they're just seeing, the start, the middle of it, the finish, the celebration, or the timed event, things like that. I think it's important that, you're right, we start looking at that. NBA, what have they done this year, right? I think every NBA game has like 36 cameras.
Yeah.
So they can do all the 360 views.
Yep.
Because that's important. Why? Because those guys are jumping up, dunking, they're flying through the air, and that's how they sell that.
Well, from a coaching standpoint, you also have guys that are going back and watching the game, that are playing the game, and saying, because they made the comment after Kobe passed away that one of the things Kobe did was he watched a lot of film on guys' feet, and you don't think about that, but he was able to watch a guy's feet and know where he was going, what direction he was going with the ball. The same thing happens with that split view on the calf roping. If you really watch those horses, you could see what horses were really working well. And when you watch Shad's horse break the box, come out of the box, you saw he was squared up and ready to go rope. And there's those other 2 guys, I'm not going to name names, but their horses were sideways. They weren't ready. And so that other split view gave a view of what they could do. And so, but that's somebody that's breaking down the sport versus just a spectator watching it.
But good for them. They're trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand that. They're trying to broaden, and you think about, now we're talking about all these events. We're talking about, crossovers, guys going back and forth from, a pretty specific PPR event to an American, which is a grand idea with the juniors and everybody. I think it's awesome. There's a lot of events.
So the rodeo paid $100,000 to win, guaranteed. 50 of that will count towards the PRCA World Standings
per event.
And then there was $1 million side pot for any of the qualifiers into the American. So 2 guys were able to split the $1 million bonus. That was Wyatt Casper in the saddle bronc riding and Shad Mayfield, who we just got done talking about, from Kansas City. So you think about Shad. Shad has won San Antonio. That was at least $23,000. He won Kansas City's WCRA, which would have been $50,000, except both guys missed their calves in Green Bay, so that was $100,000. He won $600,000 yesterday.
We were amazed because he was that 200,000 mark, right? Last week.
Yeah.
We were like, oh man, he's 19 years old. And
he will have $1 million by the end of the year. He can't drink any alcohol, barely shaves. Unbelievable how good this kid is. I mean, like, he's, to me, like, I've never been, like, I love timed events, but this kid is so just, I mean, amazing.
Yeah, but, okay. Go back to about 96, 97, 98 on PRCA side. When you had the calf open back then, and you had Cody Ole and Fred Whitfield.
And Joe.
I mean, you can keep going down the list, but there was a time in a timed event that you waited the entire rodeo to watch those 10 rounds. Mm-hmm. This kid's bringing back that same excitement.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's the best young talent we've seen come along.
Agreed, because I don't have no background in rodeo and things like that. I anticipate that.
You're excited about it.
I look for that.
Well, I think that's to happen, though. I think we're seeing that younger crop come in because you watch the Wright boys in the saddle bronc riding the last few years. They've been so much fun to watch. And now Stetson's gone over to the bull riding. So you got the Kimsey boys and the Wright. And now you got Shad over here. And quite frankly, what very well could have been the greatest bareback ride
have to call an ambulance
in the history
Are we
is...
going to have to call an ambulance for you? Okay.
I don't know why, but... but Casey Field on Virgil yesterday was lights out.
I think overall, the future of Western sports is very, very strong. We showed that with the junior NFR.
Yeah.
How did that all break down?
Yeah, well, I think in the bull riding, I think they end up having 2 cover in the short round. Don't know exact monies won, but I know Caden Bunch, who was your high school finals champion, ended up winning that event. And then a local kid that is literally, when I say local, you could about throw a rock from here to his place, and that's Colton Hevelo. So congrats to both those guys. I mean, again, we say it over and over, but can you imagine being 15, 16, 17 years old, walking into A&T Stadium and getting to perform in front of that type of crowd at that age?
Congratulations for all of them that got to do that.
Yeah.
But can you imagine
you got 2 that
being
covered
in the limelight and covering?
We'll go back to I mean, it's so we are getting more and more opportunity for our kids than we have ever in the sport, I think. And I mean, we have a local kid up here, Cole Smith, went down there and did the team roping, and I think he came home with like 10 or 12,000 last week. I mean, I think he was like 8 and change, and then when his total was all said and done, and somebody said it was 10 or 12. But cool. 15 years old, and he won 10 grand this weekend.
Yeah,
doing what you love at 16 years old.
Put that money in the bank. You can go to college on that.
But they won't because they rodeo.
They won't. Yeah, it'll buy a new trailer.
I mean, that's just a reality.
You hit it right there.
It's a down payment on a new trailer,
or a new truck, or a new horse, or a new.
I had somebody say the other day, man, if I was gonna have my kids rodeo, they sure wouldn't be timies. He said, by the time you buy that truck and that trailer and all those horses and everything, and I thought, I'd rather spend all my money on that than have my kid be a roughie.
Yeah, instead of spending it on doctor bills every week.
That's just my opinion.
Because the ropers make pretty good in and outs.
That's why I tease Kate all the time. Kate say, Kate, do you want to compete? Nope. I'll just be a stock contractor. I'd rather get paid to go than just show up and pay to go. And I'm like, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that.
So the bull riding at the American came down to Joao Ricardo Vieira and PRCA World Champion Sage Kimsey going head-to-head, and they both
bucked
off in that championship round. So the question of the day is this. Where's that money go now? According to ProRodeo.com, which your internet just went down. I can't even get it to pop up.
That happens a lot here when the wind blows.
When the wind blows. According to ProRodeo.com, there is no result on the bull riding yet. It just says Sage Kimzey, Joao Ricardo Vieta. Co-champs.
But they awarded the buckle and the saddle.
Yeah, I think they just went through the ceremony
the ceremonial part of it went. So we'll find out who I don't know if they're going to split that 100,000 in half.
Does it carry over? Like the WCRA?
I don't know. That's an amazing question, because if you think about what's going to happen if they give 50,000 to Kimzey.
But nobody's ever said how much of this counted, though.
50,000 of it counts towards PRC.
It does for sure, 100%. So then Shad Mayfield's going to go from 77,000 to 125,000. So that means he's going to be almost 100,000 ahead of Tough Cooper.
Tough Cooper. That's a pretty good gap.
Yep. So from what I'm
plus Houston's going on right now.
What I'm understanding is that half of that money counted. So 50,000 will count there. Houston counts this year. Okay. And now the Calgary Stampede counts. Calgary again is another rodeo that pays 100,000, but only 50 of that will count towards the NFR.
Which is how it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you've got 100 in, because is Houston paying 50 or is Houston paying 100? And I should have known that before I said it, but I don't.
I don't know how then. I thought it was 100,000 in the breakdown, but only 50 can count towards year end. But I mean, so
either way, the money that's going to count towards the world standings this year is unbelievable.
Either way, the calf ropers better figure out how Shad doesn't make it to Houston and to Calgary.
Exactly.
Otherwise, there's going to be. And if he does win both those, he better just go ahead and take up team roping or something else because
it's time.
Think about the NFR experience for him this year, being 19 years old.
Yeah.
Can't gamble. Can't really go have.
Well, last year, I mean, he showed up last year, and I saw him at the junior NFR as much as I saw him at the Thomas and Mack. Those were all his friends. I mean, those are all the people that he was with, and so you see him over there and doing those things. But yeah.
Pretty wild.
So on that note, the Calgary Stampede just announced that they will be a PRCA rodeo again.
So hold on, I wonder.
They will have team roping at the Calgary Stampede.
So how does that affect the PR or Calgary relationship? Because the bull riders of the last few years have all gotten to qualify because they were PBR guys.
As far as I understand, now this is a PRCA rodeo.
Okay.
Oh, because guys got points and.
So it will be those PRCA guys only. That in turn makes me still confused about how the American can be a PRCA rodeo, except it can have qualifiers and it can do all of the things that it does on its own rules. But it's just me being confused with how things work. Anywho, that's what's going on in the Western sports business over the weekend. It was a good weekend of bull riding and rodeo. There's still a lot of things coming up in the weeks ahead. It is a big time. The winter time is a big time to make a bunch of money in Western sports. I'd
be curious. We'll come back and check on this next week because, like Matt Reeves, won. He wins 100,000.
He wins 100,000.
So 50,000 that counts towards PRCA. Right. So that would put him almost 50,000 ahead then of everybody on the bulldogging side.
Yeah,
because he was sitting third at 27,001 already this year.
Yeah.
So you throw that in there, and then I mean that's.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, you just look at Wyatt Casper alone and what he did. Has that money's not been added to the world standings yet?
No, I mean, world standings is showing unofficial right now, and so I assume that the American's not been posted because none of those monies.
Okay, Wyatt Casper's number one in the world was 66,645. So let's go back to the steer wrestling as of right now, and it just says
it's not showing.
Matt Reeves at 27, so that hasn't been audited yet.
Yeah, neither's team roping.
So,
and tie down is still got Shad at 77. So,
and the bareback riding hasn't been audited either.
Yeah,
which should have Casey Field, the number 2 ranked bareback rider in the world.
So you look at a guy like Shad, right? You look at who's got that momentum. He's 30 ahead of Tough currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you add 50. That's a pretty big gap. Plus, they're still going to be competing for the rest of the year. So you think, okay, well, yeah, you could come back from that. But that almost puts an insurmountable amount of distance between a front runner, who, like using him as an example.
That used to be the case until you get to the NFR now, though. Because look what Boudreaux did in the bull riding this year, catching up to Sage. I mean, he ended up making like 120-some thousand while he was there.
Well, the NFR pays so much. Cheyenne's going to pay a ton of money more. Calgary's going to pay a ton of money more. I would imagine you won't see the stand up on the Cheyenne deal like it was a year ago, where guys say they're not going to go. So I think they kind of forced their hand to do it.
Well, I think there ended up being a lot of controversy on the outside of the politics within them amongst the guys.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be. I think it'll be another exciting year to come down to the NFR, and then you can pick up so much money at the national finals that you could overtake, the number one man in the world if you're open ride the way that you are supposed to. So we'll see how that works out.
I mean, you've got Houston showing payout of $1.7 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of money still up for grabs in Houston.
A lot of money, and then a lot of side money with the WCRA. We still have $3 million rodeos left, including Guthrie, Oklahoma, the Days of 47, Cowboy Games and Rodeo in Salt Lake, and Tacoma, Washington, that will be in August. So there's and of course the Triple Crown, which you talked about. If you win 3 in a row, which Shad Mayfield could easily win 3 in a row and win another $1 million. Oh my goodness! I mean, the amount of money that kid can make this year is unbelievable. I bet that if you go back and look what his dad won roping calves in his entire career, I bet Shad has won more money to date than his dad did in career earnings.
I'm sure he has,
and that's awesome.
Because you're talking about when Sylvester was going full time, Sly was going full time. It was back hard in the early 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that kind of money available.
That's a great thing for Western sports. Another great thing for Western sports is safety. Cody McGee, you want to do our
do a
tip of the week? Helmet tip of the week.
My tip this week is pretty simple. It's springtime. Our kids are getting back out. Our riders are dusting off from a long winter. Take your helmet out and go through it. Double check it. Tighten up your screws. Look to see if there's anything that you forgot that, because a lot of times we get phone calls where guys will say, man, I had a wreck last fall and I just threw my bag, I had a helmet in my bag and I just got it out and I forgot that I had this part broken or I forgot this. And so it's like,
and I'm riding Saturday.
Yeah. Can I have that part overnight?
Could you overnight that?
You understand that's a $15 set of screws and it's going to cost you $60 overnight. Yeah. So my point is, be proactive. Go through it. If you need something, holler at us. Hit us up on Facebook. Call. We're here. And but the biggest tip is check your helmet. Don't just check your helmet. Check your gear because exactly. That's what I'm going to say. Yep. Check your helmet. Or
your shafts or your rope or
your equipment.
Yep.
I mean, we see guys every weekend pull a rope out of a bag, and they spend 20 minutes cleaning off the rosin,
trying to get it clean.
If you would spend 2 minutes
right after
on your helmet, you'll be just fine.
Yep.
So make it part of your regiment. I will tell you, Chris will tell you, there are guys at the top of this game that do that exact thing. They go through their equipment every ride. It's a ritual. It's part of their pre-game.
Well, it makes you living. If you're a contractor, you got to have a hammer that works, right? So why not have your equipment working?
Well, we watch those guys, and I'll use the PBR example. Guys that come in a few minutes after they've either cooled down or kind of that adrenaline after a ride. They walk over, they hang the rope back up, and what do?
They start cleaning the rosin off.
They start cleaning it off, right? And then and they sit down for a few. Next day, they come in, they walk over, they're heating up, they're packing it, rubbing, all that kind of stuff. And maybe that's part of their mechanism, the professional and things like that. But it's part of it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is on this particular, you can wash this. Pull the liner out of the inside and wash it. We get helmets that are sent back to us that are so full of mud, manure, and dirt that it's just like, guys, take 2 seconds to clean your gear off.
Yeah.
Because I'll promise you, I'm going to use Sage as the example. You look at the American this weekend, you see the when he's down inside that buck and shoot, the black is shiny and the gold is shinier. Because that Hui symbol means so much to him because it's a financial gain for him every year to have it there. And he takes care of it for that reason.
Yep.
You see Stetson do the same thing with the 805. You see Chase, you see everyone. You see those guys that understand that this is a tool besides being a piece of protective gear. It's a tool. So use it. Take care of it.
Yep. Coach Cris Welch, let's go to your coach's corner of the week.
Well, we've talked about this. We talk about it constantly. I should say I talk about it constantly and with you guys and things like that. Yeah, I think, a coach's tip or a coach's corner conversation, as we talk with some of the riders, Bradley and some of the guys that we talk to on a constant basis, as we're coaching those guys up, I think it's big to be prepared for the opportunities that come along. If you're trying to get into the top 35, if you're trying to win an event at the Velocity, it's not about just winning that event. It's about getting that opportunity at the next level, and it's like going to the American, being prepared to go to the American and then to compete on that stage, right? And so I just think it's, for my world, it's been football. So, I'll use Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes for Kansas City was a rookie behind Alex Smith, Patrick started one game. Alex was hurt. Patrick played, kind of blew it up, did really well. And what did that do? For Coach Reed, it solidified why they drafted him. It solidified what they thought the future was, enough to take a top 5 quarterback and trade him. Because Patrick Mahomes did so well, and his preparation helped him be successful. Why? When you listen to him, he talked about when he came in, and part of that was Alex Smith's mentoring, and he does credit Alex Smith for a lot of his quick seasoning and all that kind of stuff, is that being prepared. He prepared as if he was the starter every week, even though it didn't happen but once out of the 18 weeks. Once out of 18 weeks, he got the opportunity to be a starter, but he had to prepare. Now, there's guys in the NFL, there's guys in a lot of sports that oh crap moment when they've got the opportunity have pissed it down their leg because they just weren't prepared emotionally, mentally, physically, right? And so we see it. You see it, guys, all the time. They'll ride something, get to the next round, and can't hold on to anything. And so, I think the big thing is just prepare mentally. Start putting yourself in the position that says, okay, what do I need to do? Is it just enough to qualify? Is it just enough to go to Touring Pro or Velocity and say, hey, check my Facebook out, PBR rider?
Well, I think a lot of kids, today have more of an opportunity at that than you did or I did or we did because, one, the internet, but two, you can go through and truly watch guys go from start to finish on how they prepare, and you learn something from all of them. You watch, whether it's stretching, whether it's mental, there's so much quote unquote self-help that you can use now that wasn't available before. So to prepare, this weekend, I guarantee Casey Field was prepared.
Absolutely. I'll tell you a guy that was prepared this weekend was Andrew Alvarez.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
Right? Finished second, almost won the event.
Almost won the event.
Could have won the event. And he's that example in-house that we can say, there you go.
But Sage Kimsey's the same way. He may have bucked off in the short round, but you consistently see him back at the top all the time. And it's because he's preparing all week long. Broke his ankle or however it shook out medically on his foot. And it still hurt him because you saw him walk the long walk all the way. And that's a long walk. We've all three done that. Around that event. But to walk back up there, that's a long walk. And it hurt him. So, but he was prepared. Yeah. He mentally, physically was doing everything he could physically. He said Justin Sports med. He's giving his props where it was due. You have to prepare.
Hey, and hats off to him. And hats off to, Andrew Alvidrez, right? Yeah. And that's because he catapulted himself up to the 23rd. He didn't win the event, but had such a good event. And now he's sitting 23rd. He's got a little breathing room. But as we've seen with some of the other guys who win an event, they kind of get to hang around a little bit. Some guys just check, and then they get out because they are not prepared to be at that level. They've got there, and it's like just getting there was enough.
Right.
Yeah, but again, you've got guys that I'm going to use the junior high school, college analogy is you have guys that show up, they win an event, and they are in that junior high mentality. And all of a sudden, they're up against the college guys. And that jump, as you know, is big. From high school to college, you're talking boys to men. I mean, when you got a 21-year-old coming across the middle, it's an outside linebacker hitting a 17, 18-year-old kid, they haven't figured it out yet. They may be tough, but they haven't figured it out yet.
But having the chance to talk with, Dalen Swearingen is a great example of being prepared mentally and physically, right? Because he knows he has to be in good shape because why? Because he's going to take every opportunity. He's not going to miss an opportunity. When he gets there, that doesn't mean that they'll automatically be successful. That doesn't mean that if you're not prepared, if you didn't go in and win it. I'm not saying that at all. Because going into the NFR, Dalen didn't have the NFR. He won it.
Yeah, but in our conversation series, you hear that drop, and he talks about he figures he got on 200 bulls last year.
Yeah,
200
and competitive. At the top of each of those situations. College, PBR, and
he's prepared.
PRCA. That's my point, and so that's exciting. So that I just think as we work through, I think attention needs to be given to that, and you can tell the guys who are. You can tell the guys who, some of the Brazilians, even some of the Canadians. You look at Dakota Butter, and he's preparing himself right now. That's what our question is, why isn't he coming to the PBR? He's preparing, building that momentum.
But it takes confidence, and we saw that this weekend, with Stetson. Yeah. Stetson goes down, and it's not necessarily down. I mean, we always say down because it's like Major League, minor leagues. But he goes down and gets his job done like he's supposed to do. Right. Stetson has all the things it takes to be a world champion. It's when Stetson wants to step up and do it.
Well, and speaking of that, Stetson did step up to the plate in Bangor, Maine, won that 3-day event there. We caught up with Stetson for a little interview.
This is two big guys in Grover. This is Cris and Cody, and we're sitting here and had an opportunity to catch up with Stetson Firewalker Lawrence after the event in Bangor, Maine. How are we doing, Stetson?
Doing great, man.
Hey, congratulations first and foremost. It was a great emotional victory all the way around.
Yeah, it's well needed and just good way to get the confidence going into this weekend and to Duluth.
Okay, so you got cut. You had to go down. Let's just get right to it. You got cut. You had to go down. You bucked off your first bull. What did TK say?
Nothing much.
Really? She didn't give you a pep talker?
Pull my head out of my ass.
Okay. Well, I knew there was something. I just didn't know what it was. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things along that line. Your second and third obviously were better. So we were talking on a different podcast just about, as coaching points for that level is really more how you prepare for an opportunity and, not waiting till the second, right before to prepare. But, what was the difference in preparation for Bangor than a UTB?
I don't know. I hit the gym.
Did you?
A lot. I went in the mornings to Fit and Lies, and then at nights I spent an hour on the elliptical, just running.
Was that more just to clear your head mentally, or was it as much physical as it was mental?
Both.
Both?
It was both. Just to push myself the extra little bit, and hopefully that would transfer into my riding.
Well, I know we talked about it here several times, and we talked about it when you were over here in Kansas City weekend, and just to kind of, we know that at that time you were just so tired of it. It was like, holy crap, it's it's the elephant in the room. But everybody was saying, oh, cut line, and we saw how it was weighing on you because we see you, and it was weighing on us, and and
yeah. It wasn't weighing on me. I'll be
he weighs his own weight.
I'll be honest. The last thing I need is your extra weight. Yeah, exactly. The last thing I need is your extra weight. So just it wasn't weighing on me at all.
That's funny.
But how do you you were pretty candid with us as we were talking and off mic and all that kind of stuff. Just what went into last week? We know it was hard, but kind of what, in your words, what was in, I know you're talking about working out and stuff, but what, how was your week last week?
It was good. I just went back to the basics, and I know I'm good enough to be at the UTBs, and I've been struggling a little bit with those injuries, which I don't want to use that as an excuse of why I got cut. I should be able, if I'm going to go, I should be able to ride. And it just wasn't working out, and I thought I could do it, and shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Right. Well, I know that you've never been one to give excuses. I mean, there's a lot of times we'll ask you, and you'll say, I should have just rode the damn thing, and that it wasn't anything. It was me not, I've got to pull my head out, and you're always pretty critical of yourself, but in the end, I think it catches up with you with injuries. Not just you, but other guys. But I think you're right. As an observing factor from us is that it did catch up with you. And we see the mental anguish and the mental frustration when that physical ability is hindered by the accumulation of some injuries, And
well, I think this week,
not making a damn excuse about it. We respect that part. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's one of the things that the locker room is going to need this weekend is the no excuses, because having you back on tour, having the amount of guys that are not on tour right now. I mean, because the guys that were staples when you first started, those guys are all gone. I mean, who's really around? JB? I mean,
yeah, that's about it.
I mean, really, honestly, I mean, there's been a changing, and we talked about changing the guard and the different things with you, but to have you back this weekend and not having Jose and Jess and a bunch of those older guys or other guys, I'm gonna say there, you really are you're kind of the grandpa of the bunch this weekend.
Yeah, you could say it that way. I definitely am.
Well, I'm just saying, but I mean, as far as experience goes, you are. I mean, I don't know of anybody else. I mean, who's going to be back up there? Maybe JRV will be back and a couple of those guys. But as far as longevity on tour, it's you. I don't know anybody else looking at the list going into this weekend that has been there as much. So to have you back, to kind of carry that torch within the locker room, people don't. I said it yesterday. You're such a staple on tour that they don't understand. We kind of look past a lot of times. Guys like you, and I mean that openly, like guys like you that have been a staple for those guys, and then you're not there all of a sudden, and then it's like, hey, he went down, he went to Bangor, he won Bangor, now he's back. That's what he's supposed to do.
And because Stetson, we see how you mentor and how you're the first one to pull young guys, you're the first one to spot, you're the first one to talk them through,
first one to make fun of somebody.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Well, I just want to get them in their comfort zone more than anything, because when I come around, I sat there by myself, and maybe those guys didn't know me or whatever, but I don't ever want those guys to ever feel that way. If anything, feel like I'm picking on them and maybe piss them off, and they do their job. I don't know.
Poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been poking the bear on the whole basketball thing, not to change the subject, but we'll go to that in a second. But so as you get ready for this week in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
When do you leave? When do you take off?
I just leave Saturday. I think it starts Saturday. Yeah, that's the day of the event.
Are you flying?
Yep.
You got you a mask and like a body, like a full armor suit.
Airports they're getting out of hand, man.
They are. It's ridiculous.
Actually, I don't know if anybody has any hand sanitizer or freaking Lysol wipes in Walmart anymore, because everybody that gets on the plane is just wiping the planes down.
Dude, but who the hell's used? I mean, up until about 5 years ago, nobody even knew what hand sanitizer was. So why all of a sudden is it a big deal?
Well,
I mean, just wash your damn hands. A bar of soap's been around a long time.
It's just to clear the mind, I guess. It's say you try to do something about it, but
it's a little late
that's
now,
a bad
isn't it?
look at it.
Chris, never mind. I'll stop.
Yeah.
All right.
What?
I was gonna say Chris does the same thing when it comes to eating. He tries to not eat the last little bit on his plate. So,
Dude, I'm a plate cleaning machine. I don't even. No shame in that game. Well, maybe a little bit, but not a lot.
Not to make fun, but it shows.
Exactly.
hey, that's not making fun. That's a fact. That's a fact, and you know that.
Hey,
Yeah.
the sign of a warrior.
Yeah.
All right, so going in, let's get back to this basketball thing. Not to change, not to take away from that, but there's a big,
That's all good.
big challenge on the table here.
Oh, I'm taking him down.
I keep hearing all the talk and the rhetoric.
Whenever he's ready, we'll make it happen.
Well, he's still yet to go the Y and bounce a basketball. I'm giving you the 411. So don't stress.
Hey,
I'm not stressed at all.
You and Cody are safe.
all right. So all right. We'll have to figure this out because, like I said, now I got you and I got Webster. So I got like 2 ball games ahead of me. I got to start shooting a basketball.
No, it's supposed to be you and Rump.
Yeah, no, it's me and Rump against Webster.
Oh,
yeah, Rump and I against Webster. We can play Stetson too. I mean, it's just hard to get Rump around that time. So
you're better. I think you're going to be better off using Webster as your warm-up game to then come play me.
Okay.
You schedule it however your schedule works. It don't matter.
All right.
he's the fluffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
And I don't even know how good Webster is. I have no idea.
I don't either, but Webster tells me he's going to school me. So,
Well, just looking at Webster, he's not the most coordinated guy. Like
I said the same thing. But you know what? Never mind.
Hey, the common sense factor has to factor in here, though. You have 170
I'm not
pound.
bashing him. That guy's one of the best bullfighters there is.
To ever walk.
I know, but
And
go ahead.
when it comes to sports like ball sports, I don't see him being too athletic.
Yeah, I'm with you. I already called him out.
But when you look at Cody, you see what?
Dude, I spew athletics.
Dude, I could see some athleticism.
I'm built like a
but
ball.
it's under like 150 pounds. That's what's the problem.
You're right. And so I have to make up for that with my ability and my skill.
Hey, so we're going to schedule this about 2024.
No, I don't have to lose 150 pounds to play him in basketball. Hey, did you see that guy the other day? What was his name?
Stinky? Or
no.
Snacks.
See? Did you see that video, Stetson? Online?
No.
The manager for Jackson State University. Kind of a big, heavy-set kid. Yep, they put him in the game.
He's kind of a big, heavy. It's not quite as big as Cody.
His name's Snacks. That's what they call him. Anyway, he drains it from about 15 feet behind the three-point line, and the whole crowd went crazy. So, you know what? Sometimes when you got the skill,
Cody's
you don't have to have the speed.
He can right now.
Oh,
yeah.
he's reaching.
Every squirrel gets lucky finding a nut.
Exactly. All I'm saying is, either way, it's a win for me, right? Because he opened his mouth, he's run his mouth.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
If you guys kick his ass, then I get to beat him with
and
it
you know
all
what?
the time.
And I will take it with grace, just like Stetson took it with grace in Bangor, Maine.
Well, I know this. I'm just giving you a heads up, Stetson. If you lose to Cody, dude, I'm gonna make. Oh my God, I'm gonna make t-shirt. I'm gonna just make your existence a living hell. I'm never gonna ever forgive you for that. If you lose to Cody.
I'd expect that.
And you know what? He didn't even say the opposite for me. Like he'd be like, "Hey, if you beat Stetson,
Well, we expect
he didn't."
you to lose, man. We're not gonna just.
All right. You know what?
I'll have to show you. I'll text you guys a video after we're done here of me playing ball. I think it was last year. But
Last year?
You'll be impressed.
Okay.
All right.
Send it to us, man.
Yeah,
We look
send it to
forward
me. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, we'll
are you
attach it
playing
to the podcast, and we're gonna get some people to
Playing Weston Hartman.
Weston
Okay.
Hartman. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's game on now.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go buy me some basketball shoes because I'm not gonna play in my cowboy boots.
I'd advise you not to play in the cowboy boots. You probably roll an ankle.
He's got more shoes than TK. He's got more pairs of shoes than TK.
You better go buy some ankle braces more than anything.
You're not gonna break you don't believe me. You understand? You might have run around like a normal guy, but to get around me, it's at least 3 dribbles to get around me. So then I just got to shift.
One juke one way and the other way, and then you're down.
He's going to use that momentum and the gravity
to
help him out.
Yeah.
Well, gravity gravity works against me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to dunk the ball. So
there was never even the
I hope not.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking that. Were you thinking that, Stetson?
No, I just think of him being tired.
Oh. All right, it's game on.
Coach.
All right.
What are we going up to again? What was it, 21?
Yeah, first one to 21, make it take it.
There are no breaks. It's got to be a solid go.
Yep.
Hey.
No, I'm tired. Let's take 2 seconds.
So what happens when he gets hurt and then he's off tour and then it's my fault because he lost at a basketball game?
Yep.
Well, you shouldn't be fouling that hard.
All right.
Hey, you may have to wear your helmet.
All right. So, no, that's not. No. No, I don't want any excuses. When he gets beat, I want no excuses.
No, me neither.
All right. I'm just saying, from my angle, common sense is prevailing, and it doesn't take much to.
You know what?
What?
Refrigerator Perry did not look like he could carry the ball, but he got a handful of touchdowns in his career.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and Walter Payton didn't. I still resent.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's football. This is basketball.
I'm not sure you can call this basketball.
All right, so let's get to this weekend. You got Duluth this weekend. You're prepared. You're ready. You're back on tour. Go kick some ass.
That's the plan, man.
Yeah. I'm curious because I did not see Bangor. I did not watch Bangors at all. Were the Bulls into your hand or away from your hand?
The both were into my hand.
Yeah.
Road.
Yeah.
The first one I bucked off was, he was kind of trashy out there, and he just got my hand loose, like he was rolled each way, and then he finally come around to the left, and I didn't have my rope. Got bucked off like at 6 something.
Hey, were you pissed?
No, I was just pissed that I seen about 35 good spinners out, and I drew that one.
Yeah. You got the junky one?
Yeah. And then the short round, I got beat out of the chute bad.
But you recovered.
What?
You recovered, though, didn't you?
No, I didn't ride. Nobody rode a short round.
Oh. Did you enter twice up there?
No, it was a 3-day event.
It was a 3-day event.
Rounds.
Oh, that's right. It's 3 day. That's right. I forgot.
3 rounds and a short round.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of bull riding up there, was there? I think 5 the first round.
I didn't hardly know. I knew like 5 people there.
That's kind of been the case, though, on the Velocity Tour here recently. It's just
weird.
It really is. It's a different feel. Lots of young guys, lots of guys. Actually, there's a lot of older guys that I've never even met before. You know, like even like a Bradley Britton. He's been around. I mean, he's not a young cat, and now he's just now started going to him. So I mean, it's a different feel at those.
Yeah, Willingham was down there. I knew him. I knew Matt Wearies.
Mm-hmm.
And Tittman.
Yeah.
And that was about it, really, that I can even remember.
Huh. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to watching you ride in Duluth this weekend, and I'm gonna definitely sit down and study the March Madness bracket and give me some good watching in so I can learn some new crossovers, and I'll definitely.
You better get those high shorts because there ain't much room underneath those legs to get that ball under there.
Wow!
His shorts go down to his ankles anyway, right?
Whatever. All right. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, from both of us and Grover, man, the 2 big guys at Grover, we wish you the best this weekend, and glad you're back to that level. And you know what? We know this, and we say it all the time. You got it, man. It's just a matter of, knowing
when you want to use it.
Yep. And you,
yes, sir.
I'm glad.
Don't waste it trying to play basketball against me.
Well, that'll just be a warm up.
But we appreciate you taking the time after Bangor and as you prepare for Georgia this week. So good luck. Kick some ass.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, bud.
So congratulations again to Stetson Lawrence for having a huge weekend in Bangor. It puts him back on tour this week in Duluth, Georgia for the Unleash the Beast series, which will be its next stop. You can...
Are you flying or driving?
Join my beautiful face there on Facebook. On Ride Pass. I am flying.
You got your mask?
I am flying. The mask does not help you, remember? Do you look at the internet?
No.
Okay. The
you don't have to have a mask.
Had said, don't worry about a mask unless you're sick. If you're sick, should
You're
wear a
always
mask.
sick.
I have allergies. Allergies and sick are different.
They are?
I have allergies.
You're allergic to air.
I have a little tickle in my throat.
See,
right
look now. Here it goes. It's just going to slowly.
I don't think.
What else is wrong?
I don't think it is the.
What else is wrong?
Is it hay fever?
Coronavirus.
He's allergic to hay.
I don't think
Moving
so.
hay. Touching hay.
I am
Stacking hay.
I break out like crazy when I comes to hay. So, Duluth, Georgia, Dayton, Ohio will be the stop on the Pendleton Whiskey Velocity Tour. Rodeo Houston still going on. You can check every performance of that out on the Cowboy Channel and, of course, Ride Pass and CBS Sports Network for all of your PBR bull riding needs.
I'm headed to high school junior high rodeo this weekend.
Yeah, we're at
Carthage. I'm going to go to Carthage, Missouri.
Carthage, Missouri.
This is basically is this the first one?
First one in the spring, yeah. Yeah, it's Kansas I think starts back this weekend. Or maybe they're next weekend, but yeah. Locally we're starting right back. I think we're 3 in a row. So
is this an outdoor event?
It's indoor this weekend.
Whew.
With a steakhouse attached.
But it will still, no matter what, it's that
Like
time
you
of
can
the
actually
year.
sit in the steakhouse and look out the big glass windows and watch what's going on.
You say you'll be sitting in a steakhouse?
No, actually, I told Lainey earlier this. Actually, yesterday I said,
Lunchable.
I told her, I said, hey, we're not. I gave her some parameters she had to meet before we were sitting, because my kids love going there because. A lot of times you get to a junior high or high school rodeo.
Hey, Scott.
Hold on a
my
second.
My kids love going.
Yeah,
no,
my
but
kids
this is
love
what I'm
going
going to say.
Yeah.
I go because they want to go.
No,
Right.
you end up in the trailer, as people out in podcast land will contest this on the junior high school side. You end up in your trailer, or you end up in the stands. Like you don't really have anything to do beyond that. This is one of the few places where we can go that has something indoors besides your arena. So everybody kind of congregates inside, and so you end up having a lot of time for fellowship and food. But it ends up being it's a great place to start this on the Missouri side.
Is it kind of like the bar at the
Like the Lazy E?
No, at the South Point. The Cinch Bar.
Yeah,
Like
but
that.
this one's more eye level, but yes, it's just like that. Yeah, so you can be inside and not near as much smoke or any smoke at all, like the one in South Point. The South Point is a smoking bar that serves drinks. But anyway, I get to high school and junior high rodeo this weekend. I'm actually looking forward to it because you get to spend time with that group of people, and you take a long break. It seems like, and so.
And what a great group! What a great group!
All the way around, high school rodeo was one of my favorite summertime deals between junior high and high school. The families that we meet, have met, and continue to have a relationship with at the junior high and high school level. Like we've got kids when we first started. They'll be seniors this year for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
They started in junior high.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. Good luck to them all. Have a great outing.
Final thoughts of the day, Cody?
My final thought actually goes back to junior high and high school. Kids that find themselves not in the top 3, 4, 5, keep pushing, because it takes one muddy rodeo, it takes one buck off, it takes, and that's where these kids get discouraged, I think. And just don't get discouraged this weekend. It's the first one back. It's and if they're already back in some other sports, like Texas has been going already. I mean, Region 6, I saw they had their finals already. So they don't ever really slow down there. Mm-hmm. But don't get discouraged. There's a lot of time to rodeo. And if kids want to go on and rodeo in college, and we're seeing more of that now, coaches are watching. They can see it on social media. It kind of goes back to what Cris said. Prepare. Mm-hmm. But they've got don't get discouraged. That's my tip of the day or my final thought is, don't get discouraged. It's been a long winter, especially where we're at here, and there'll be a muddy rodeo along the way.
Right. My final thought of the day is about the English language and about the Brazilian bull riders that continue to come here and continue to be a part of our sport, and that some of the fans at home, I think, get, just because of what I read on social media, they get discouraged about a lot of those guys coming. They're coming over here and they're taking our money and blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you about a group of guys that are trying to do right by the country that is giving them so much. Jose Silvano. I got to meet Lucas, really get to hang out with Lucas Divino this week for the first time. And holy cow, when Robson Palermo said, I am from Brazil, but I live in Texas. And he wanted to be introduced as a Texan. He wanted to be a part of this country. The guys that are now and Robson just became a U.S. citizen, and Lucas is learning English, and he wants to make sure that every time he's in front of a camera that he talks back to me in English. I had him on Ride Pass to open the show, and Paula was there to translate. And sometimes a lot of that's because they don't understand the questioning, or we're not slowing down enough.
The phrasing.
Well, it goes so quick. They talk about how fast it is that they don't have time to process it, and it's understood.
And it's sometimes we don't have a lot of time to get an interview in.
Right.
But he was able to answer me back in English, and that made me feel so good that they realize you're going to get farther in this business if you know the culture, know the language. Sponsors are going to take a lot more liking to you if they know that when you see a fan, you can say, hello, what is your name? When they're signing an autograph, or thank you, or whatever that is. So shout out to the Brazilian bull riders out there that are really trying, and any fans at home that still have this us against them mentality. It's not like that at all.
If they have that mentality, go listen to our conversation series and listen to Jose and Paulo.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's not been dropped yet, but as soon as it comes out, listen to it, because you'll become more of a fan of the Brazilians, not just a Jose or what. You become more of a fan of Brazilians because you understand it more.
Yep.
It's part of their champion attitude.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Final thought?
My final thought is I just want to reiterate the whole: be prepared for the opportunity that you will eventually have. But don't wait until you have that opportunity to prepare. There's a big difference, And as a coach, there's plenty of times that we would prepare during the week. We would do all the things that we needed to do, and we would do them right, and we would still come up short. That's going to happen, right? Again, that shifts over to the mental preparedness that says, "Hey, I can do everything right, and I might still get beat," but that next week, that follow-up. So there's a big difference of being prepared or preparing. And when that opportunity comes along, that's not the time to start preparing.
And it's okay to be beat, but it's not okay to beat yourself.
Amen.
So
great point.
I got my final thought again.
Okay.
Or last word.
2.0?
Last word. Maybe that's what Chris will call it, because he always says that to me.
Okay.
Last word.
Cody's got to get the
Two
last
things.
word.
Of course.
One.
You know that.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Oh, see, if I saw no. Why don't you call Frost and have him get you a new hat, because that one already is looking like it's sweaty and dirty, so it actually looks like you did something in it.
Well, it was the cap that I grabbed in a hurry today because I almost overslept.
Because you were late?
I was
I know,
actually 2 minutes late.
Because I know somebody that was on time today.
I
I
know.
was 2 minutes late to the studio, which is very
Two, I think it was
undaunting.
8.
Either way, this is the one that I grabbed.
Okay,
I've got
you best get on the phone and go
Hey,
get
you know
your
what?
new
Shout
LF.
out to Stetson Frost and Lane Frost brand. They've
We'll have him on the show one of these days.
absolutely
he's
really
coming up soon.
Yeah,
And
because
we're
we'll have. But in the meantime,
And
you
you know
might
what
make a
would look
phone
good
call
right
or have
here?
Becky jump online and get you a new hat, because that right there.
Well, hey, and I will also tell you what else I do.
I'm impressed it's got a sweat ring,
you
though.
wanna
I've
know
never
what else
seen
I
you
do
have
in
a
this
sweat
cap?
ring in any hat.
You also want to know what I do with this
What's
cap?
that?
There is not a day that I don't go to the Y and work out
In that hat?
that I do not wear a Lane Frost cap in that gym to work out.
Really?
And a lot of times it's this one.
You're preparing to win.
I'm preparing to win.
Okay, and then my last.
Being a champion.
Hey, is this 3.0?
No, I said I had 2. That's why I was saying.
This is the third.
We've been asked a lot, where do we find you guys? Chris is normally at the donut shop. The podcast is online.
Right.
Oh, hey, Scott, you know
So-
who's the donut.
Yeah.
thief,
So-
right?
Well, and you Google
You
it.
could,
yeah,
Google
it comes.
the two big guys.
two
and
big guys.
Grover.
Don't Google 2BG and G
No,
because
that'll
you're just gonna get biscuits and gravy.
bring
Because
you
I think
somewhere
that's why
weird.
he did that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but no, Google Play, Spotify. The live version is
Facebook
always
and
on
YouTube.
on Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook.
And then you can always jump on iTunes podcast. It's on there also.
Anywhere where
But
it's free.
yeah,
That's where
I
we're
wanted
at.
to make sure we let that out. So
Yeah.
I
We
had to-
appreciate the support. Go in and,
Absolutely.
go out and subscribe, and we appreciate all the positive feedback. And
We're getting a lot of it right now.
yeah,
Yep.
it is.
So
Yeah, we're
if you
growing
guys-
listeners, and believe us, if you like it, tell us. If you don't, tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us what you. But if you're going to tell us, if you're going to say you don't like us, tell us what you don't like. Like I saw the other day, we had 1 thumbs down on a YouTube deal,
But
which
you
is
know-
great. You don't have to like us, but tell us why you don't like us, so that maybe we can switch it, or we can go. I
Okay.
really don't care.
we don't have enough time in the show for having me go over why I don't like you.
No.
So
All right. That is today. Look forward again to our
hey, this weekend, what'd you say?
Duluth, Georgia,
Duluth, Georgia.
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, I got
and
that.
The Cinch Timed Event Championship of
Yeah,
the world. at the Lazy
that's
E
where I
Arena.
was going.
That's gonna be that will be coming up on Ride TV in the weeks to come. I believe also there might be live streaming on Ride TV Go.
Yeah, right. TV Go.
But what an amazing event there at the Lazy. If you've never heard of the Timed Event Championship of the world, you have to head, heel, rope a calf, steer wrestle, and
Steer trip.
steer rope. All 5 disciplines of the timed event, and it is a multiple round competition where it's the
5
Iron
rounds,
Man
right?
of,
It's 5 rounds.
5 rounds. It's the Iron Man.
5
of timed
rounds,
event,
5 events.
Being a timed event cowboy.
Yeah. So you can find out. So guys that you thought only rope calves at the NFR are only team ropers.
Have
You see
to
a lot of
steer us.
guys
They
show up.
reach out this one.
In fact, last year Justin Thickpin on the IPRA side came up, swept them.
And he's got to be
He's got to be the front runner again this year. Yeah.
Coming in this year too.
All right. So that's my
right.
last.
It's a rainy day in Tracy here at the old 100X Studios. Thank you guys for stopping by and listening and watching. We'll be back next time on the Two Big Guys in Grover podcast.